Also among the contributors to the Globe's opinion reel are two filmmakers, each with a piece about getting around Boston on two-wheeled vehicles. We'd like to welcome Geoff Adams and Jacquelyn Carriere. Thank you very much for being with us.
Hi.
Thank you.
I want to start with Geoff. You did this piece because you are a filmmaker and also because your topic was something that's an important part of your life.
Yes, and I was provoked actually to make this when I saw the call, the opinion reel call from the Boston Globe. So I'm a cyclist and I use these particular intersections that I documented in the film many, many times, and every time I go through I think someone should make a video about these unsafe intersections. And then when I saw the opinion reel call, I said, that's exactly the motivation I need to make this video and document the unsafe conditions at these particular intersections.
Jacquelyn, you're also in the filmmaker track. You recently finished Emerson, is that true?
I'm still in there.
Still a little bit more ways to go. And your topic was about getting around on a moped.
Mopeds, yes, yes.
Why did you say, what made you say this is worth a contribution?
Yeah, it's a great question. I guess I just kind of got introduced to the world of mopeds very serendipitously, and I kind of fell in love instantly. It was just like there's this beauty to the mechanics and the culture. There's like just a very big, I guess, subculture of people that come together and wrench together and ride together, and it's just a really nice small community. And it also has its wear and tear and I guess dangers of itself, just like Geoff was saying. Yeah.
Geoff, talk about the dangers. We're going to bring up an excerpt from your film, and this is mainly about the hazards of biking more or less inbound to Boston along the Charles River.
Now approaching a crossing a few miles inbound, I have watched pedestrians and cyclists arrive here astounded, confused, and in total disbelief at the insanity of this crossing. The path was constructed in the early 1980s. Have these crossings been like this for 30 years? Why are these crossings just left in such an unsafe condition?
Geoff, as even I remember from riding bikes along here, there are some intersections, the lights, the traffic, things are going every which way, and it's pretty scary.
Well, the expectation is that you're on a multi-user path and that path would be safe. It's an off-road path, and yet when you come to these intersections, you just find traffic controls where there's no clarity as to how pedestrians or cyclists can get across these very busy streets. There's no accommodation at all for pedestrians, so you kind of have to use your wits, and if you can see the signals for cars, there are ways to navigate across those intersections.
You use your technique very ably to walk us through those intersections and show us what can go wrong, but people are going to be looking at this and saying, how is he shooting that?
It's very simple. There's a GoPro camera mounted to the front of a recumbent tricycle. You did mention two wheels. I'm actually on three wheels.
Three, oh.
And the recumbent tricycle is a great platform for shooting because it's very steady and stable. And so there's a GoPro camera mounted on the front of that. And then I also mount the GoPro on the top of a 14-foot pole in order to get a view looking down. I call it my drone. It's the poor man's drone. And so from the top of the pole, you can see the layout of the roads, and I use that to diagram where cars are coming from, where traffic is, and how the signals work. So it's a GoPro camera used in two different ways.
Jacquelyn, in your piece, it's about not just the hazards of mopeds, but why people even ride them.
Right.
We're going to bring up an excerpt from this here.
Whether you're like fixing it, hopefully not so often, or riding it with friends alone.
For some reason, you ride it and you get that feeling that you made it go this fast. It's just a feeling that keeps you going. Something that you really want to keep doing for some reason. I don't know what it is. I couldn't tell you. I can't describe it. Once you get on a moped, then you have that feeling.
So tell me about this, Jacquelyn. Why do you ride this?
Well, it's a great way to commute around the city of Boston. I've ridden bicycles in Boston too, and I've ridden mopeds, and I've walked, and I've driven, and I don't know, I feel like riding on a moped, you just kind of get a great sense of the city and how like wonderfully beautiful it is, and then also like the people. I feel like I'm just driving down the street, and I just get like all sorts of reactions, all sorts of responses on my moped, whether it's like positive or negative, which happens. I kind of I just get like a sociological thrill out of it, if you know what I mean. Like, you just kind of learn people and how they respond to such antiquated pieces of metal that just, they're still operating on the road.
Right, so you get antiquated metal, but you also have some new business ventures springing up from this too, like that shop in Alston.
Yes, Lucky Two Strokes is a great place to be. I stumbled upon that shop when I moved to Alston, and it conveniently placed right around the corner from me. I just walked in, and as soon as I walked in there, there's just like this beautiful atmosphere, a beautiful, like, dirty atmosphere. Like, it was grimy and gritty, and there was life in it, and I really wanted to go in there and like capture that, because there's, you know, I like to kind of capture the beauty of the quote-unquote ugly. And that's what I set out to do. I met these guys, and I was like, I'm gonna build this relationship with them, and we're gonna be friends, and I'm gonna tell their story, because no one has yet, and it's just a really nice story to tell. It's a really nice community.
Geoff, your story is actually part of a larger story that even we've been covering over the years, because for a long time, people have been trying to find a safer way for bikes or tricycles along the Charles River, even talking about those new passages under bridges.
Right.
So there's a lot going on here.
Yeah, the Charles River Conservancy, which is at thecharles.org, is and has been advocating for underpasses under 3 of the bridges that cross the Charles. And right now, currently under construction, is the Anderson Memorial Bridge. And just last week, there was a public meeting to get opinions and talk to the Mass DOT about the efficacy of putting in underpasses there. So that seems to be moving forward. And underpasses is a great solution to some of those bridges. Particularly, the most troublesome that's in the video is at River Street, which is really just an insane place. If you've ever been there on a bicycle, you would know it's a very insane crossing. And so that's one of the bridges that's also part of the Charles River Conservancy's advocacy to put in underpasses.
Yeah. Geoff, you know, you're an accomplished video person, and why do this, you know, through the globe when you have the ability to go to other outlets? What's the difference here?
Well, I was convinced by the Globe's pitch, the long reach of the globe. When I read those words, I said, this is exactly where I want to put this video. And I did, and I was originally thinking I could distribute this video to the various advocacy groups in the Boston area who could use it as a visual aid to tell their story. There's lots of bicycle advocacy going on, and I did do that. But the long reach of the globe was really attractive to me as a way to get it in front of a larger audience and hopefully provoke more discussion and possibly even more news coverage of bicycle advocacy and, in particular, these unsafe crossings.
Jacquelyn, you have some accomplishments too, but why did the Globe do something for you that you needed?
Well, I mean, I guess it's a very opinion-based piece. I think like any sort of documentary deserves, you know, a bias, and there are people out there who you may agree, may not. So I feel like Boston Globe is like the perfect platform, because there's plenty of people out there who may agree with me, who may disagree, may love, may hate mopeds, and I just kind of want it to reach everyone.
Thank you very much for being with us, Jacquelyn Carriere.
Thank you.
And Geoff Adams. Up ahead, we'll have sports with Pat Flaherty.